Hello and welcome to Champion Reviews. I'm Joe. Here with me is my co-host Dan.
Hello and greetings.
Now, this episode is called Venom Returns, and Venom Returns. They followed through with what they promised. And in this episode, we find that Brock's a raving lunatic in a prison. Yeah, big surprise. Before he was a raving lunatic out in society. Now he's a raving lunatic in prison. But the actual episode starts with Cletus Cassidy. Sorry about that. Ugh, can't talk today. Cassidy ended up, trying to blow people up. Spider-Man got rid of his bomb. He also wanted to chop up and murder Terry Lee, because he's a lunatic and a creep. And, Madam Web gives Spider-Man advice on how to deal with the problem. And Cassidy apparently lusts after Dr. Kaufman, which annoys Brock. That's strike one between the two. And then you have, of course, Spidey-Man and War Machine who team up to try and stop Venom, who's teamed up with Dormammu and has agreed to basically steal a interdimensional transporter that Stark, in his infinite stupidity, has agreed to, have created. Now, the experiment actually fails before Venom shows up. And it begins to fly out of control, and Stark panics. I can't help but think when he approved this decision, got so excited about it, he must have been drunk. Because this is essentially the equivalent of, do I want something like the atomic bomb to wreck the planet? Yes! No, the thing is, we barely understand our own universe, like the actual cosmos we live in. And you want to then go to, open up a doorway to another realm so that, we can screw that up too, or it could screw us up too? I'm just saying, in this episode, Stark, be dumb.
Yeah, this is the exact same thing that started in Ultimate Fantastic Four comic.
And we can actually say another thing about this. Now that I think about it. And when it comes to Connors and Deborah as well, Peter's the only one going, I have a bad feeling about this because I know how bad this can get because I have this thing called good sense and, a conscience. Because these scientists are too busy asking themselves whether they could do something, they never stop to think whether they should.
And also the variable of what if someone sabotages it?
Yeah, what if it destroys the planet?
Because Ultimate Fantastic Four, they got screwed over. Doctor Doom.
Except nobody cares about Ultimate Fantastic Four. But here we do care.
We do care. And it's like, come on, Stark, you're smarter than this.
Well, apparently not. Well, and I'd say in the pre-2002 comics, yes. In the cartoon, apparently not. Now, Carnage, meanwhile, ends up fusing with Cletus Cassidy. And this brings up something that, given how his behavior later with Spider Carnage, and given how Ben Reilly, the sanest person in Marvel Earth in the comics, reacted with the Carnage symbiote, I can't help but think that maybe it's not a case of Cletus Cassidy dominating the symbiote of Carnage, but so much as it dominates him. And that Cassidy is insane, certainly, but the Carnage symbiote was even worse from the start, and he is dominated by it. So that when it says I, it's not Cassidy. He's lost. He's gone. He's brain dead. He's a vegetable without it to an extent. He just operates as an extension of its will. And that's why he can send it into drain pipes and whatnot.
In telephone lines.
Because it's the Carnage symbiote operating, not Cassidy. And Cassidy is actually dominated by it. And basically it's automaton unit. Whereas with Eddie Brock, Venom is cleverer in a way because the symbiote, which is female, and where the Carnage symbiote is male, the Venom symbiote actually is dominating Eddie Brock like it tried to do with Peter earlier, but both in comics and in, cartoon. I don't count anything after 97. That's canon. That's worse than the worst fan fiction out there. And the thing is, the Venom symbiote doesn't want to give you the idea that it's dominating you. So it'll say, we, you and I are doing this. Or you are doing this. It's much cleverer than Carnage. But that said, it's still insane and evil.
Yeah.
But the difference is, it's got billions, if not possibly almost a trillion years of wisdom and cunning under its belt. It's probably older than Galactus, by all indications.
Yes, evidence does show that it's...
much older.
Yes, and Galactus is ancient.
And from the previous universe. Now, the Carnage symbiote is not that old. It's young. But the scary thing is how powerful it already is.
Mm-hmm. And
it took, I think, Iron Man, the Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man teaming up to defeat it. I mean, Spider-Man can't take him on his own. Weirdly, Ben has been able to somewhat keep it in check when it tried to possess him. Sorry, that's a testament to how powerful Ben's willpower is. That said, it nearly drove him insane, which is a testament to how evil and corruptive this thing is. But Ben, of course, managed to save the day, although the symbiote did escape, because it's what it does. Now, in this episode, though, sorry for the tangent about the comics version. It's real. We geek out. We love Carnage symbiote.
Carnage does do a lot. And
the problem that the post-97 version did is, Wonder Man went to tear it in half. Sentry went to tear it in half. The problem is, tearing it in half doesn't do anything, as proven by pre-97 Venom. Actually, what it would do is then bond with Sentry and take him over.
Yeah.
And abandon Cassidy. And actually, what they should have written was Sentry getting possessed by this thing. Yeah. Which would have been a great Spider-Man storyline.
Because the Sentry is one of the most powerful beings on the planet.
And you could have used that as a doorway to bring back Thor and have a Thor Spider-Man team up against this Carnage symbiote.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting. But of course, that's why they wouldn't do it, because it's a good idea.
There's a reason.
And they need to have Captain America promoted rather than Spider-Man, because they hated Spider-Man and loved Cap.
There's a reason why Thor was obsessed with putting the Sentry in the sun.
Yeah, because Sentry sucks. Anyways, in the cartoon, Carnage, Carnage trashes War Machine, who was curb-stomping Venom with ease, which is believable in hindsight. They kind of nerfed War Machine, who is way stronger in the comics. But that said, he was still curb-stomping Venom, which is impressive. And would have probably ended up destroying the symbiote were it not for Carnage. Now, Carnage then proceeds to curb-stop War Machine, which, that would happen in the comics. I love Carnage as a villain. He's better than Joker ever was in the comics and in the cartoon. Mm-hmm. Although Heath Ledger's Joker admittedly is up there as a villain. But let's rate this episode now.
I'm going to...
Oh, and there is a problem. Oh, right. Kaufman, Dr. Kaufman, the chick who wants to bang Eddie, rushes in to try and get herself killed because she's got a suicide. She's got a death wish.
She wants to go. She wants to go see her Mr. E.
Yeah, and rushes in. An explosion briefly takes place, knocking her out, and Venom proceeds to bitch and moan about it. And weirdly, Carnage doesn't even seem to notice. Well, who could blame him? Like, she's a non-factor.
She's a collateral.
She's a failed psychologist from the prison who failed to rehabilitate Brock. Look, no joke. As we see in future seasons, in the next season, she's a failed psychiatrist. That said, meanwhile, Carnage is beating the crap out of Spider-Man, knocked him out, and is planning to chop him up into little guacamole. Because he's Carnage. He's a lunatic. And now let's rate this episode.
I'm going to just make a slight comment. You know how you mentioned Carnage dominating Cletus?
Yeah.
The creepy part is, would Cletus truly be against it?
I think yes. He wants to be in control. I think initially he'd welcome it in, thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to dominate it. But then, as it was basically shutting down his personality, he was going, whoa, wait, this wasn't part of the deal. And it basically just said, I don't care. And just purged his personality. and then pretends that he's in there. And the thing is, he welcomed it in, but that's the thing. He didn't realize what, when if you read the comic where it possesses Ben, you see that actually it's trying to erase Ben's personality and drive him insane. And Ben's resisting. And it's implied Cletus tried to do the same. Now, Cletus, it can control from a distance, leaving enough of it behind in his brain to keep him functioning. But the thing is, I think an extended time period away from Carnage will result in his death.
Okay.
That's my theory.
I will actually rate this 3.5.
I'll rate it a 3. The whole Kaufman stuff.
Yeah.
And the idiocy of Stark brings it down.
Yeah, it's like Baron Mordo makes a comeback.
Yeah, that's always... Except last storyline he sucked. This storyline he's actually good. So, that's good. Yeah. Dormammu's, of course, almost mucking up Mordo's brilliant plans and keeping intel from him when he needs it. Yeah, so this was a good episode. John Semper does it again. And, yeah. So comment, and don't forget to share the video and subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs so we can publish a dark fantasy horror novel. This first chapter that we've been working on for a little while. And so you guys help get us to 1,000. We'll publish that first chapter for you. So till next time, ciao!